Bors?
Last name spelled B-O-R-S.
Where are you currently employed?
The City of Tampa Police Department
And how long have you been employed with the Tampa Police Department?
since 2010.
What is the current assignment that you serve in or at TPD?
I am currently assigned to the Cybercrimes Unit
And how long have you been in the Cybercrimes Unit?
since 2016.
In that time, tell me what some of your day-to-day duties are.
So when I originally started in the Cybercrimes Unit, it was more focused on internet crimes against children, which is a task force, and then that evolved into digital forensics to help assist those cases, and eventually the Cybercrimes Unit now includes digital forensics and internet crimes against children. So my responsibility is probably 50-50 on both now.
What training and experience do you have in the area of actually analyzing these types of evidence?
So I've taken multiple classes with NW3C, which is the National White Collar Crimes, and then individually for like specific tools. Main one being Celebrite, where I've completed the physical operator and analysis, certified forensic repair technician, and then with Axiom, I've done multiple classes for computers and then cloud extractions, and then also received certifications with IASIS, which is more specific on Windows computers, and then the forensics of going through the deep artifacts of the devices.
Okay, so I'm going to break down a couple of those things. You mentioned something called Axiom and something called Celebrite. What are those?
Those are what I refer to as analytic tools, which you can, one part of their tool gets the extraction from the devices, and then they also sell another tool that actually parses out the extractions into something you can view.
How is it that you're able to use those programs to analyze, for example, a return instead of a physical device?
So again, it's a tool. So if we get a return from, like in this case, an Apple, you ask for the Apple Cloud backup through a search warrant or consent, and then they'll give you back typically what's a zip file or multiple zip files, where if someone's Apple iPhone, they've decided to back up different things such as like contacts, messages, pictures, all different categories. When they back that up, it goes to Apple, and then Apple gives that to us on whichever legal authority we choose. And then typically those companies give it back in the same format every time. So then these third-party companies, Axiom or Celebrite, know what that format is, and then they write the software to then parse it out to where we can then view it.
Is it safe to say it's kind of like taking the file and dropping it into the program as an ability for you to read it instead of a bunch of code?
Correct. It's more in zip files, and then maybe it could be in JSON files or Excel spreadsheets, and it basically just pulls it out into something to where you would view it the same. So where a text message, when you typically look at it on your phone, it's kind of in order, and there might be a color associated with sender and receiver. These tools kind of do the same thing. It puts it more into a format that you're used to seeing it in versus just in a bunch of lines.
In the format that you're able to see the information once it's actually uploaded, do you have categories that you can click on to look at specific types of information?
Correct. These programs, being Axiom or Celebrite, they decide what categories they're going to categorize the artifacts into. Excuse me. And yes, so you'll see messages, photographs, videos, things like that.
And are you familiar with the process of backing up your device to the cloud or to iCloud?
Yes.
Are you able to select certain items to back up, or are you required to back up the entire device?
You can choose to back up individual things, or none of it, or all of it.
So you could choose contacts and photos and nothing else.
Yes.
And are you able to tell us, did you have some involvement in the investigation, in this investigation as it relates to the homicide of Charles Jones?
Yes.
Were you tasked with reviewing some either returns or Celebrite Axiom reports from some devices or returns in this case?
Yes.
I want to start first with whether you received a return from Apple iCloud in this case.
Yes.
Did you receive more than one?
Yes.
Would the first return that you received for analysis from Apple iCloud be alicia.andrews03@yahoo.com, or one of them?
Yes, that sounds familiar.
And did you also receive a return for rockoutsean with 2 N's at iCloud.com?
Yes.
You typically, do you select which software you're going to use if you receive these types of returns?
I have a software that I typically use. Again, these softwares, they're being written constantly with the updates. So it kind of goes on whatever at that moment is the best tool at the time for what I use. But I will often ask the detective what they would prefer to have it in, because they have to review it, and whatever they're most comfortable using as well might depend on which tool I decide to use.
When a report is actually extracted, so say you find a photo or a message that you'd like,
Yes.
when that's extracted, does that extracted report look different if you're using Axiom versus you're using Cellebrite?
Yes.
And is that just a visual difference?
Yes.
Is there, in your experience, has there been a significant difference in the data itself?
The raw data, no, but again, each tool is written by two different companies, so what data might be parsed out by one company might be different than another in terms of, I'll try to keep it simple, where TikTok is somewhat newer. So let's say one tool has written code to parse TikTok where another one has not. It doesn't mean that the data, the raw data isn't there in the extraction. It just means one tool was written to parse it where the other one hasn't.
In this case, since we'll just limit those readers to what was utilized in this case, so that would still be Axiom and Cellebrite, is that right?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review Cellebrite reports from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department for a device that was obtained in a search warrant there?
Yes.
And would that have been from red with 3Ds 03 at iCloud.com?
Yes.
Additionally, did you have an opportunity to review the Cellebrite report for Rockout Sean at iCloud.com, the same one that you had an Axiom extraction from iCloud for?
It wasn't an extraction, a return from Apple,
excuse me.
but yes.
So you've had an opportunity at least to review those three separate things
Yes.
and the contents therein.
Yes.
I want to start first with the Apple ID red 03 at iCloud.com. Are you familiar from which that came, where that came from, excuse me?
I believe that was from the Jacksonville Cellebrite report.
Permission to approach on.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked states 76, A through B.
Yes.
I'm also going to show you states 75.
Okay.
Did 76, at least A through B, contain the device information that was from the Cellebrite report, as well as some of the contents from that device for which you've reviewed?
Yes.
At this time, state seeks to admit states 76, A through B, 1 through 4, and 8.
Any objection other than the previously made objections?
No further objection.
Same ruling, admitted.
Now, I've asked you about whether this Cellebrite extraction had some kind of related ID, and showing you states 76A. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so these are mostly identifiers or information about the device itself. So you can see the model number towards the top. but that's not a model number that you typically see. So the model number, I don't want to say typically see, but that's something that's more forensically or a model that's given to by Apple as far as build number to the software. The typical model you'll see is detected phone model, which was a iPhone 14. And then the iOS version, which is 17.5.1. The MSI SDN is the phone number that's associated with that device. And then you'll see the IMEI a little bit further up there that starts with 350. That's what most people would commonly refer to as the serial number to the device. It's specific to that device.
Okay, so if we break that down just a little bit slower, you mentioned that there is a phone number that's associated. Is that what we're seeing here with this last use, MSI SDN?
Yes.
And then the Apple ID that we referred to as it related to this particular Cellbrite report was red with 3 Ds, 03 at iCloud.
Correct.
Excuse me, I'm not sure if I'm there. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
All right. And are we talking about the information that's included right here?
Yes.
Now, are these device reports able to be downloaded typically from your standard Cellbrite extraction? So are you able to get this kind of summary with a report with this information about the device, the phone number, the Apple ID, typically when you use Cellbrite?
When you use either Cellbrite or Gray Key and you do an extraction, when you parse that extraction out in the Cellbrite tool, this is what's generated by Cellbrite.
And is this something that you can look to determine identifying information for whatever the extraction is you're looking at?
Yes.
Does that also include specific account identifiers? So, for example, if there is an Instagram account that's documented on the phone or a TikTok account, is that information that can be included on these device reports?
Yes.
And do we see an example of that here with the Instagram at 14, line 14?
Yes. Instagram has identified, I'm sorry, Cellbrite has identified an account associated with Instagram and then the usernames.
At the top of these columns that are provided in the device report, are there several different categories of information that have been created by the Cellbrite software?
Yes.
And does that include creation time as well?
Yes.
Are you able to tell me anything about that, creation time?
Not specifically that one, no.
Okay. What about UTC in the creation time itself?
Yes, so UTC refers to Coordinated Universal Time. So to put it in the easiest explanation is that all of the times, as far as we're concerned, is generally around Greenwich, England. So just say England as a specific place. So we're currently in Eastern Standard Time. So depending on daylight savings time, we're either -4 or -5 hours from England. So if it was midnight, it would be 4 hours behind, and then pretty soon we'll be in fall, so we fall back another hour, and it would be 5 hours back. So forensically, we often leave stuff in UTC time when you look at it, because it makes it easier when people are communicating all over the world, and you want to make it relative to where we're currently at in Eastern Standard Time. It just makes it easier when you're doing things on a time log.
And that is what you prefer in forensics when you all look at the information?
It makes it easier because if someone in, let's say, California was talking to someone in Florida and you're using 2 different time zones while trying to tell a story, it makes it very difficult. So we try to leave it all in one time zone.
What about for the detectives that you work with day to day? Does it make it easier for them to do the calculations when you actually provide these reports to them, or do they contact you often to have assistance?
There are ways to, in the report, to convert it, to make it easier for them, but often you'll see, like you see right here, it's UTC +0, meaning that there is no, the time isn't altered at all. It is in UTC time, so it being June, to be in Eastern Standard Time, you would have to -4 hours from the time you see.
Now, I'll show you some examples of that modification here in a bit, but there is ultimately a way for the device for you to update the time zone to the current time zone or the time zone that the device is in.
So the time zone that the device is in, I would say the time zone where you're at would be more correct, because the problem with time the device is in, the device doesn't store in what we refer to in forensics as local time. So if the device is in Florida today, but California tomorrow, it doesn't store it in those two time zones. It stores it in UTC or whatever time it is, but it comes back to a UTC time. And then based on where your phone's time zone is set, which often is automatically set, but you can go in and manually set it as well, it will -4 or 5 if you're in Eastern time zone, and that's what you see on your device, but it's not stored in your local time zone.
But you are able, there is a mechanism to view the information that is pulled or view the report with the modification to from UTC to Eastern Standard Time.
Correct. This tool, Celebrite, is used worldwide. So depending on what time zone you are in, you can choose to set it at -4 for Eastern Standard Time or -8 for Pacific Time. So you can go in there and go, hey, I want to view it in the time zone for the state I'm currently in, and it'll alter those times accordingly.
There's been no request of you or no evidence to suggest or support that there were any devices provided to you where there needed to be a calculation for Central Time or Pacific or anything like that in this case?
No.
Now, and again, looking at the identifying information from this report, was there also something in line 16 as it related to a TikTok and the user ID information from there?
Yes.
What is the information that were provided from the TikTok column here under the user ID?
It shows the user ID also being, I believe, Alicia Andrews 72.
Now, when you look at specific items from inside of this report, are you actually able to pull, for example, a text message communication?
Yes.
Showing use states 76B. What is it that we're looking at here? What type of report?
This is also a Celebrite report, and it shows a conversation or at least some messages that were sent and received.
What is it that you can tell me about the timestamps, if any, on these messages that are depicted on the screen from June 21st of 2024 at 10:56 p.m.?
Same thing I mentioned before, they're in UTC, so they're going to be 4 hours different than what would be Eastern Standard Time from where we're currently at. So being 10:56 p.m., it would, I believe, be 6:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
When you actually look to the message itself, are you able to determine who the sender is, or are there any markings or indications on the messages which would indicate who the sender is versus who is receiving the messages?
Yes, oftentimes will say to and from. In these scenarios, this isn't text messages. I believe these are actually just messages by.
I can go back to the first page related to Miss Adore.
Yeah, so I was looking at the numbers at the top, which are often the account numbers associated with either Instagram or Facebook. And it looks like, so as I was saying, that all of the files that come in from Apple, they're in a bunch of smaller zip files. So underneath where it says source extraction, that is the actual zip file that these messages are coming through or being pulled from by Celebrite. And you'll see towards the very bottom, it'll say group.com.bourbon, B-U-R-B-N, and then Instagram plist. So these messages are actually being pulled from that file, which is a plist file, which is associated with Instagram. So looking at that, I know that those are Instagram account numbers, and then those are the display names. So Miss Adore would be the display name of that Instagram account that sent that message to whoever the other person is.
And then in that device information that we were looking at from 76A, are you also able in the account name column to confirm what you were looking at there from that source information as well? The same name at least depicted there.
Yes.
And these, again, messages were in UTC time, at least as extracted here.
Yes.
in states 76B2, is there also a category for something called transfers that you can extract the Celebrite report for?
Yes,
And what is it, is that what we're looking at here?
yes.
Still, the data that comes in allows for some categories. Are these categories that are provided by the program or something that you would input or add?
No, these are all, like I mentioned earlier, that Celebrite, the company, has parsed out whichever file contains this information, and they choose which category to display them in.
Now, in this particular case, there's a source column, but it doesn't look like that long source code that we were looking at from the last exhibit. Is that different?
It's just showing that it came from Cash App. It did come from a longer source file or file path, it's just not displayed here.
And are you familiar with Cash App?
Yes,
Is that a money transfer application?
yes,
In states 76B, are you able to see that?
yes.
When we're looking at the file info from 76B, are you able to tell me anything as it relates to the name of the file?
Yes, the file name is img_001.heic.
And does the HEIC, is that indicative of anything for you?
I don't know what it stands for, but I know that HEIC is commonly a file extension for a picture file associated with Apple devices.
So for like a document, you would have .pdf or .doc or something. Is it, for just a layperson when we're looking at it, you recognize HEIC as .hcic being consistent with a photograph or
Yes.
pictorial evidence? When we see the thumbnail associated here, are you able, when viewing the information, to actually look at that image in a larger capacity?
Yes,
Does that mean that this thumbnail here that it's given to you, does that mean that that was the original size of the item or anything like that?
no, but the original size says the bytes right there. It tells you how big the file is. That's just simply, like you said, it's a thumbnail image. It's a small image, just like when you go through your photos if you have an iPhone or an Android, you don't look at one photo at a time. You can probably look at 30 to 40 photos. All of those photos are also saved in those smaller sizes so you can quickly view them, and those are called thumbnail images. But the actual image itself is much larger typically.
Can you see that all right?
Yes,
From that file itself, was this image consistent with the thumbnail attached to that extraction?
yes,
And you can't tell me about the circumstances from which this photograph was taken.
no,
Can you simply tell me that this is a photograph that was on the device
yes,
and was depicted in the extraction report?
yes.
Do you have information about at least the created modified access dates here as it relates to this particular thumbnail?
I'm not sure if that refers to the thumbnail or the actual photo itself. I believe it refers to the actual photo, which is the created of 6/26/24. I believe the thumbnail is actually just generated by Celebrite.
Yes, I apologize.
the-
I mean for the photo.
Yeah, so the artifact itself being the larger image we just saw, the created, modified, and accessed is associated with the photo, but then the metadata below is the data about the photo itself. So you can see that the capture time, probably the original time that photo was created, matches the created and modified.
And for this specific photograph, there is a capture time that it also reflects camera phone and iPhone 14. Were those consistent with the device information from the first exhibit that we looked at 76A?
I don't recall if it was an iPhone 14.
In looking at in looking at state 76 A, does it refresh your recollection as to the device model for this extraction?
Yes, it would be the same model then.
Did the capture time of 8:35 PM, is that indicative of UTC time in looking at the actual created modified access information?
So the time is about 2 minutes difference, but I'm not sure if the captured time below is in UTC, but using the created modified times, it would appear that it would be in UTC.
How about as it relates to the image that was actually captured itself? Is there any information from the image itself that we're able to ascertain regarding the potential time that it was captured?
Yes, the phone itself shows that it was 8:35.
In looking at States Exhibit 76B8, can you tell me how this type of an extraction, even though we still see the blue and the green boxes, would be different from the one that we looked at from Instagram? Does this one
I'm not
have phone numbers for the participants instead of ID numbers or?
Yes,
Okay. And are you able to see the phone numbers on this report itself?
yes,
Are those phone numbers depicted here?
yes.
And with owner, is that indicative of the device from which this information came from?
It is.
You mentioned when we were looking at the Instagram messages that there's a to or a from. Do we have that information in each of the top of the chat bubbles that we see here photographed or depicted?
Yes.
Can you tell me from whom the top message came from and what, if anything, it said?
It shows it came from the owner's device to the phone number ending in 7558. And did you want me to read the actual
The
message
content of the
itself?
message, if
Okay.
you would.
It says, if you get a iPhone and you have a Android, you can switch your stuff over. I just figured it out if you ever upgrade.
Did that same message that's captured there in green also, or that same sender also send the next message that's captured in green?
Yes.
And does that one indicate anything was actually sent as far as content as well?
As far as the message goes, it says like your pictures and stuff.
And was there any response or message back to this device captured in this chat?
Yeah, it shows that the message received was about a minute later. And it just says, switch and bring your hard-headed self home.
That message, those messages that we just looked at, 76B8, were those in UTC time consistent with the device being or sending these messages at 8:39 PM on June 26th?
Yeah, so this report or what you're viewing here has been converted to Eastern Standard Time. So the times would reflect Eastern Standard Time, and that's what the -4 means.
And lastly, for this device, from state 76B4, is this another one of those messages where you're able to tell us whether it was between devices with a number or on some kind of social media account?
This is from devices with phone numbers.
What is the timestamp that is related to the first message that's sent?
It is 8:42 PM, and it's in Eastern Standard Time.
And was there a response from someone to this device?
Yes.
And what was that?
How do I know this is you?
Can you tell us what we're looking at here on page 2 of that same exhibit and how it differs from the other chats?
This is just obviously a picture message that was sent as an attachment in the message.
And again, are you able to, when you see something that size, look at a larger depiction of that?
Yes.
Is that what was reflected there?
Yes.
And was the timestamp able to be deciphered from the information included on that message?
Yes.
And when was that message sent from this owner's device?
9:17 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time.
In addition to the Celebrite for Red 03, did you have an opportunity to review an Axiom extraction as well? That was a return from iCloud.
Yes.
I'm showing you 75B. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it is that we are seeing in the overview report in 75B?
Yes, this is, the overview is all the individual files that comes back from Apple, and then they're parsed out by, in this case, Axiom.
So did the extractions that come from, or the returns that come from iCloud, when you pop them into Axiom, do they look a little bit different visually than the Celebrite reports that we just looked at?
Yes, the individual company decides how they want to display the information when they parse it.
What, if anything, are you able to tell me about each of these three files? Can you view them together when you actually use this software?
Yes.
And do you have the same option to look at tabs or categories within the information when you use it?
Yes.
And publishing states 75C. Now, how is it that you, from an Axiom extraction or report, are able to determine where or what category the information came from?
It would have the same file path at the end. It would show you exactly where it pulled from. Maybe not necessarily in this PDF or printed version of it, but on the tool itself, it would let you.
Are you able, from the actual report that gets extracted, to decipher some information about its originating location?
Yes.
What is TextNow Chat?
TextNow is a voice over IP application that allows you to send text messages and phone calls, receive phone calls, basically over the internet. So as long as you have cellular data or hooked up to Wi-Fi, you can download the application and basically request a phone number and then make phone calls and text messages using the application instead of the native phone number assigned to that phone.
Is that different from sending a text message or a call from your device?
It would still be from the device, but through an application.
So you would use the phone, but you'd be using an app.
Yes.
Now, if I called you in that app, would my phone number to you be the same as my phone number that AT&T gave me if I select a number?
It'd be whatever phone number that TextNow provided to you.
But it is not the same as an extraction, for example, from the instant messages from a device or the iMessages.
No.
Was there in state 75C1 an extraction report from the Axiom for this device?
Yes.
And is this device the alicia.andrews03@yahoo.com?
This is not a device, but a
Return
iCloud
from
return.
iCloud, so
Yes.
data from them.
Yes.
And would that have been from that Alicia Andrews 03@yahoo?
Yes.
All right. Now, what is it that we're looking at?
This is just text messages or messages that the Axiom tool has pulled from that iCloud extraction.
Is it possible that this isn't the entirety of all of the messages that go back and forth?
Yes.
Are you able to select some messages by date or timestamps, anything like that?
Yeah, you can filter within the tool to only certain messages. And then sometimes only certain messages are backed up. So you don't always get the full conversation, or you can filter it down to just portions yourself.
And coming from this return from the email for Alicia Andrews 03, what does the information that's provided in these chat bubbles tell us?
It just tells me that this message was sent to someone at that date and time.
And are you able to tell me anything about where the device came from? I mean, where the information came from? Was this message sent from this device, this report, to another person?
Yes, I can't tell right now, but it looks like it might possibly be a contact that says me, or I'm not sure if that's referring to the individual device. I've never seen me on a report before, so it might be a contact saved as me, but I'm not sure.
Your Honor, may I have one moment?
Yes.
Mr. Deputy Martinez? Should I turn it off? Are you able to tell me about the dates that this message was sent?
Yes, it shows that it was 6/17/2024 at 11:44 and 11:47 a.m.
Now, as we move through this exhibit, all of these exhibits would have come from the data from the iCloud return that you received for the Alicia Andrews 03 at Yahoo account. Is that correct?
Yes.
In 75C4, is this image that's being depicted here from page 4 different in some way than you would see for a traditional image? Like if it was a photograph?
This image that we see here isn't actually an image. It's a video file, but the Axiom tool, so in my investigations, we go through hundreds, thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of videos. So instead of having to watch each individual video as you go through the tool, Axiom will display what's a preview of the video by giving you 8 frames from the video to give you a general idea what might be in that video. So you don't have to necessarily watch every single video just to find out what's in it. It'll give you a preview, which is what Axiom has done here, and then you could go watch the video itself. So in this case, we're looking at a preview that was generated by Axiom of the actual video file.
Are you able to actually see the full video or even grab some of the frames from the video when you're pulling an extraction report?
Yes,
And is that what's indicated here from that same video?
correct.
Just a screenshot, basically, if we're using layman's terms.
Yes, and I think even when you go back to the still frames where there was the 8 different frames from that video, you can see that it's very similar.
Are you able to tell me anything about the date and time that this video was preserved from the data or file path, file information here?
It just shows the last modified and then, more importantly, the EXIF created. And how we mentioned earlier, that EXIF data is more data about the file itself versus a lot of times when you see created, accessed, and modified, that refers to that file being in a specific place at that date and time. So if you put a folder on your computer and you make a copy of that folder and put it somewhere else on your computer, those created date and times will be different because it's whenever you copied and pasted it. But the EXIF is specific to when that video file itself was created. So typically, forensically, that's the one we try to focus on if it's available, and in this instance it is, which is 6/22/24 at 5:26 p.m.
And are you able to say that that is also Eastern Standard Time based on the UTC information also provided?
Yes.
75C5 from the same iPod return. Is this an actual either screenshot or an image on the device, different from what we've just seen reflected as a video?
Yes,
Is there a time reflected in the screenshot itself?
yes, 2:58.
And is there data associated with the screenshot itself?
Yes,
On this particular screenshot, this one has a PNG label. How is that different from what we saw before?
PNG is often associated with screenshots when it comes to Apple devices. So if you do a screenshot on an Apple device, it'll save it as a PNG versus the HEIC file.
The EXIF data for this one is depicted down here. Is that the same EXIF data for date and time that we would be looking at?
Yes.
And are you able to tell me what the EXIF data tells us about this particular screenshot?
It shows the original date and time to be 6:23 at 2:58 p.m. Or I'm sorry, yeah, p.m.
PM?
I'm sorry, no, so 2:58, I was looking at the top. So 2:58, there is no PM or AM associated with it.
In 75C6, are you able to see that? Record 1 of 75C6.
Yes.
All right, and do you know, or can you tell me what this is?
It's a picture, but I don't know who it is or where it came from.
Are you familiar with the photo application in an iPhone or Samsung device?
Yes.
And do you have the options, which we could see at the bottom right here, of taking a photo or selecting a photo option?
I believe that's just a selfie cam. I'm not sure if that's taking a photo or selecting a photo.
To flip the camera on
Yeah.
the photo app?
Yes.
But is this, so if I clicked on or took my phone and clicked on the little camera that's on the home screen, I can open that to access the camera?
Yes.
And is that what we're looking at here, a camera access from one of these devices, or a device of some kind?
It appears to be consistent with taking a photo with a device, but I'm not sure what application it's being used from.
While you are utilizing your phone's camera, whether it's front-facing or rear-facing, are you still able to take a screenshot?
Yes.
What information, if any, did this particular item provide to us regarding the date of the original?
The original date showing 6:23 at 4:10.
I'm sorry, was that PM or AM, or do you know?
It doesn't show an AM or PM.
Are you able to tell us about the ability to have military time or standard time? Tell us the difference between those two things.
You can select military or standard on your phone, how it's displayed. And basically that being a military time is from 0000 all the way up to 2400 or 2359. So basically there is no AM or PM with military time.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes?
75C7, are you able to tell us anything about this return from iCloud as it relates to information from Instagram?
Just that, is this from, we're still talking about the iCloud return?
Yes, the same return from alicia.andrews03@yahoo.com.
Yeah, so, again, Axiom being the tool that we used in this one, it identified different, I'm trying to think where it came, or see where it came from, different accounts associated with, it looks like Instagram.
Does Axiom allow for information regarding followers and following when it gives you a return from Instagram or information from Instagram?
I cannot tell if these are follows or following, but it's obviously information that's backed up to Apple.
When you make a full download as it relates to the Instagram profiles, followers or following, are you able to review the file path and the file information to assess whether there's following, followers, followed by? Those categories that Axiom gives you.
Yeah, so in this scenario, yes, you can see what Axiom has parsed out, and it shows that the account associated with that Apple account, that cloud account, there are artifacts associated with Instagram showing that that account is following that username at the top. And you can see where it says following, yes, but they're not being followed back by that same account.
So following, yes.
Yes,
The username account, Young and Ace.
yes,
Followed by, no.
correct.
There are 3 of these records. Is the difference between having record 1, record 2, and record 3, which indicate the same, each of the iCloud returns that we saw in the beginning here when we were looking at the backup evidence?
I'm
When we
not
looked
sure,
at the first page, let me go back.
I'm not sure what the differences between the 3 records are. That would be Axiom parsed it out, whether that information is in 3 different locations, or it's just repeating information that's the same information in 3 different locations.
If the path matches source information from this file, the second file, and this third file from page 3 of the evidence overview, does that lead you to believe that they are, in reviewing the contents of each of these zips, representative of that following for each of the returns from each one of those files?
So it would be more from the source, and I can see that the source looks, and there's a lot of numbers in there to tell you exactly the same, but it looks like the source might be a little bit different, and that's why you have 3 records.
Okay, and then when you see the evidence number or information, is that referring to the file that is provided from iCloud?
Yes. But in there are both multiple different folders, and you see that where it says source here, being the original one, and then there's that number, the 1295723, and then there's folder and subfolder and subfolder. So every line that you see is another folder within that folder, so every slash mark.
In 75C8, do we have the same type of following report or information that was pulled from Axiom? Page 4 of that exhibit for username Julio Foolio.
Correct.
And do we still have or also have those columns regarding following and is followed by?
Yes.
As it relates to this particular account, what was the account following?
The device account was following the Julio Foolio, but Julio Foolio's account was not following back the user's device or user's account.
Are you also able to, as we could see from the device report and the Cellbrite data, or the reports that we had, are you also able to select photographs that you can pull reports for?
Yes.
In looking at this photograph that's depicted in 75C9, was there information associated with that photo which would allow you to be able to tell when the photo was captured?
Yes.
And what information is that, and can you relay that for us?
So, again, forensically, we often focus on the EXIF data, which is data about the data itself, not necessarily when that photo was placed on that device or that cloud. But here you can see that when the photo was taken, it captured a lot of information, lat and long being exactly where GPS put that photograph being taken, what model phone took it, and it looks like even it tells you which camera it would have taken it with, being the dual wide camera, which is typically seen on the back of a device, versus the selfie camera or the front facing camera that would face you.
And can this data, because it's been an iCloud backup, be something that came from a different device? When we saw Cellbrite, we saw a model number and an iPhone and those types of things. Can this be a different device just stored to the cloud?
It could simply be someone sent you the picture and it's stored on your device, but it just got backed up to the cloud even though another photo or another phone took the photo.
Can it be your device having taken the photo?
If you have multiple devices with the same account, cloud account, yes, it could all be backed up. But it could also be a photo taken with someone else's phone and then you've stored it or saved it on your device and it kept all that same EXIF information and also got backed up because now it's on your device that is being backed up.
If I have my same iCloud account from high school up till now,
Yeah.
will every phone that I've used and backed up to that same iCloud account still be reflected? Those photos from older phones are still in my iCloud.
It's possible. That's a better question for Apple, how long that they store stuff for.
But you
Or-
can have different devices that back up to the cloud.
Yes.
Is this a larger version of that photograph that was depicted in the last exhibit?
Yes.
Same exhibit, was there an image captured April 15th of 2023?
Yes.
And is that what's depicted here?
Yes.
In 75C10, can you tell us what it is that this is representative of?
These look like text messages between two devices.
So these look different than what we looked at from Cellbrite. We don't have the convenience of the blue and the green. How do you know that the messages are going back and forth? Is there something about their placement?
Yeah, so Axiom will place them typically right and left to try to make it look more like what you would see on the device. Sometimes there's colors that make it a little bit easier to see, which I don't see here. But you can also see received at the top where those ones are being received by that cloud account information, and it says unknown direction. So probably didn't parse or it wasn't provided in the plist files or databases that were given.
But there is a number associated with the received by,
Yes.
and then the unknown direction, can that be from this person responding back to that received by?
Well, received from, I believe, is the top number. Like that was, they received that message from that number.
Yes, so if this message, text message is received from number ending
Right.
7534, is this the owner or user responding to 7534?
Correct. Often there isn't a number associated with the received by because the owner of the phone is simply the owner, doesn't need to store its own number.
Are you able to tell me about the date and time from which I Don't Like the Town Center was received to this iCloud?
It shows April 10th of 2023 at 8:38 p.m.
Was there a response to that message?
Yes.
What was that?
You hate everywhere with an emoji, we don't gotta sit in.
Did the number ending in 7534 send a reply to that?
Yes.
And what was that?
23 got killed in the town center, that's why I'm like out there.
We still see the phone number that's provided for the person that's sending the messages to this iCloud,
Yes.
and we see their responses on the right from the person with this device.
Yes.
Lastly, was there an image from this iCloud account preserved April 22nd of 2024?
Yes.
And were you able to see that image in an enlarged fashion from the same extraction report?
Yes.
I believe that completes this particular extraction yard.
Okay, very good. All right, members of the jury, it's 12:20, so we're gonna go ahead and take our lunch recess. We will reconvene at 1:30, and we'll see you then.
All rise. Auditors out there.
Very good, thank you. Detective Morse, is it, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, since you've not yet been cross-examined while we're on the break, you can't talk to anybody about anything related to this case, including any of the parties. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, just go to lunch or do whatever, and then we'll see you back here at 1:30.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, so let's go ahead, what is the issue with the,
Judge, there is the defendant's interview. We had both agreed that we would stop it when she requests an attorney. I had sent previously a message about additional redactions where there is conversation from the detectives having to do with a type of sentence, a light sentence, as well as there are references to what the jury will do, including statements like, you're gonna get convicted, the jury's gonna convict. I mean, there are several areas that I think are inappropriate, that I had sent to defense counsel, and I think that he is of the opinion it just all should come in.
and this is after she invoked her,
Right to
It is
counsel?
Before.
Okay.
So there were several references, as well as several references to the type of sentence that she's going to get. And what I think is concerning, especially references to what needs to be proven in front of a jury, what the jury's going to do.
Okay. Why are those comments by law enforcement admissible?
It's admissible because the officer is the one who said it. It's during an interview. We shouldn't get to retract certain statements, redact certain statements that he made during an interview because it looks bad on him. And that's exactly what the state is asking the court to do. In the interrogation, he's threatening Alicia. He's saying these things to Alicia. He's also not just mentioning life, he's also mentioning the term of years, which is 30. Regardless of what he says and what he mentions in terms of what sentences she may get, all of what he's doing during the interrogation is what prompts Alicia to give the responses that she does give during the interrogation. So if you take out the statements that he's making, you're leaving out the context of why she said and did certain things. So that context needs to remain in the statement.
So, I mean, it sounds like you're arguing some form of coercion based upon what the detective said?
I mean, it could be coercion, it could be under influence, it could be...
Well, why did you file a motion to suppress pretrial?
Because I'm not asking for it to get out.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking for the statements after she invoked her rights to be left out.
Okay, well, did she say anything inculpatory after the detective made the statements about what the potential
She does not.
sentence is?
So, I mean, my only concern again was the rule of completeness, that's why I went with the defense counsel. These are not statements where she is making incriminating statements, she is denying her involvement. So, Judge, I don't think that those, again, normally, we're giving this with an instruction saying how the law enforcement officer's opinion is not evidence. I think defense would normally be asking me to take it out.
Right.
If that didn't happen in the scenario, I understand that they may have their own strategy. However, it's not appropriate, especially there are multiple references about the jury specifically with the
Okay.
detective.
Let me see this. So were you intending to play anything to the jury after the detective makes these comments about what the sentence is in this case, or the potential sentence is?
Judge, it is in there multiple times, so there is portions that occur after that, correct?
Okay, and so there is evidence that you would seek to admit after the detective makes that representation regarding what a potential sentence is,
Yes, Judge.
okay? And that part you do intend to play to the jury.
Not her direct response to that, but the interview does go on, Judge. But I thought a lot of it is what the defense wanted to remain within the conversation, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, I'm having a hard time because I don't know what the interview, I don't know what it is, so I'm gonna have to look at it. And I really wish someone filed a motion before trial, and we weren't doing this in the middle of trial. Okay, so be back here at, I think I told the jury 1:30, be back here at 1:15 so I can look at the video. Okay, thanks.
Where's the recess?
Three through 13. This 2 was previously admitted.
Right. Correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
That is trash. Yes. No, that is trash, thank you.
Okay, so we're running out of time to talk about the defendant's Miranda interview, so jury's back here at 2 minutes. Okay? How long is the interview?
Judge, it is approximately 122. 122.
An hour and 22?
Yes.
not gonna be able to watch that right now. So. All right, how much longer do you anticipate with your current witness, Detective Bors?
15 minutes.
And is Detective Ramos the next one?
He is judge. But we can certainly get started with, he's gonna be lengthy, so.
Okay. Three.
For Robert Howard, when he was brought over, I guess then
Yeah,
you
you'll
go back.
probably send it back.
I'll
Yeah.
send it back there.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Pardon me?
You want the detective to be back on the bench?
Sure.
No, don't worry, it's okay. Yes.
Still missing one jury, Judge.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes. Yes.
All right. Do we need to wait for, is Mr. Harmon here? We need to wait, or we can get going?
Judge, I think we can get going.
Okay, very good. Let's go and bring him in. Okay. Sorry. It's mine.
All rise. All jurors are in, Judge.
Okay, very good. Everyone have a seat. Welcome back, and we'll continue on with the detective. You may proceed.
Your Honor. Detective Bors, I believe when we left off, we were on the extraction for Alicia Andrews, 03 at Yahoo. We're still familiar with that
Yes.
extraction report? In looking at States Exhibit 75C12, are you able to tell me the difference between the two dates that we see as it relates to the first date stamp on the page versus the second?
It shows October 15th of 2023 at 11:02 PM, and the last modified time being 5/15/2024 at 9:34 AM.
And modified, as you've already described for us, can that mean copied, saved, updated?
It could just be a change to the picture. I'm not sure what the changes are. Viewing the thumbnails, it looks like it might just simply have been cropped, but I can't tell you for sure what the change was.
And the same as when we discussed the other thumbnail images, you would be able to access or enlarge the image from that date.
Yes.
Lastly, 75C15 from the same iCloud extraction.
Yes.
Is there some evidence that this is not a photograph and is instead a video?
Yes, if you look at the file name extension where it says file name, it says MOV, which is pretty indicative that it's a video file. But then again, as I explained earlier, Axiom takes frames from it. In this case, it took 10 frames from the video file and then put it to where you could see what the video potentially would have in it.
And just like as you did previously explain, are you able to then view each of the various screen grabs? You can watch the video as a whole, or you can actually look at it in parts.
Correct.
Now, as it relates to the extractions, or really any device, are you familiar with who the phones belong to, where the whose phones the extractions came from, the circumstances under which this information would have even been provided to you?
I know the information that Apple provides to me as far as what account it's associated with. As far as who's in control of that account or device, I do not.
You don't know the facts or circumstances surrounding the case?
I know the general facts of the case, but I don't know about the individual evidence items.
How about your involvement otherwise in cases like this? Are you out, on the street and interviewing witnesses, investigating potential suspects, things like that?
No, well, we do interview suspects as far as our child exploitation cases, but when it comes to homicides or other cases for that matter, where my role is primarily digital forensics, we don't typically go out to the scenes. We just handle the processing and extraction portion of it.
You would not be able to, for example, in this moment, look to the image that we just saw in 75C13 and identify the individual that's depicted.
There's two individuals, but no, I don't know anyone in this case specifically. I couldn't pick them out by photographs.
And for this particular case, it is the scenario for which you've mentioned, which is you would have information relevant to the homicide investigation. It's not like you would be interviewing like you would on a child exploitation case.
Correct. I do not interview or did not interview anybody in this case.
You'd only received the evidence from the lead detective and a request to do the digital examinations.
Correct.
I'm showing you what has been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 94. Would you take a look at that, please? Do you recognize the reports depicted in 94?
Yes.
And do the items that are depicted in states 94A through C, 1 through 7, accurately, fairly and accurately depict the extraction reports or some of the extraction reports from the Rockout Sean account that we previously mentioned.
Yes.
What program were these reports opened in?
Celebrate.
So just like the previous or earlier Cellbrite that we were able to view, did we receive an extraction or a report, excuse me, with device information?
Yes.
And were you able to confirm the device Apple ID associated to this report?
Yes.
And what was that Apple ID?
The Rockout Sean at iCloud.com.
There was also a telephone number that you provided could be located at the MSISDN.
Yes.
And is that what's depicted here on this line?
Yes.
As in the last Celebrite report that we were viewing, were you also able to view under account name, in the account name column, an identifier of Sean Gathright in the Apple iCloud backup account for line 15?
Yes.
I'm showing you 94C5. What are we looking at here?
This is a text message between two phone numbers.
Are you able to ascertain who the parties are to this text message conversation, or at least how are they identified via the report from the extraction?
And I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt. What exhibit is this again?
94C5.
Thank you.
If it hasn't been moved into evidence, Your Honor, I would move the full exhibit in.
No, Judge.
Okay, admitted.
And how are you able to identify the parties?
Celebrite has identified the owner of the account to be Sean Gathright, and then the second participant in the conversation to be that phone number 904-386-0925 with the name Ghost.
And where does the name that's depicted under the number come from?
It would be pulled from some database, usually contacts, but I'm assuming, or I'm not sure exactly where it came from. That's
Speculation.
Would it have been saved by the device user as Ghost, or does that come?
Speculation.
Overruled. He can answer if he knows.
I don't know if that name was in the context.
The information that is there, so when you first receive a device itself, does the device auto-populate with the names of the individuals that are stored, or is it the responsibility of the phone owner to populate contacts?
On an iPhone, it can suggest the contact, because if you say, hey, this is, so-and-so, it'll put suggestion, but this wasn't from a device. I believe this was from an iCloud account, so that name was stored within that message. So Celebrite pulled that information out of the database. I'm not sure where in the database that name was. It would be pulled from some database, usually contacts, but I'm assuming, or I'm not sure exactly where it came from. That's
Speculation.
Would it have been saved by the device user as Ghost, or does that come?
Speculation.
Overruled. He can answer if he knows.
I don't know if that name was in the context.
The information that is there, so when you first receive a device itself, does the device auto-populate with the names of the individuals that are stored, or is it the responsibility of the phone owner to populate contacts?
On an iPhone, it can suggest the contact, because if you say, hey, this is, so-and-so, it'll put suggestion, but this wasn't from a device. I believe this was from an iCloud account, so that name was stored within that message. So Celebrite pulled that information out of the database. I'm not sure where in the database that name was stored.
I'm actually going to show you, just slightly out of order, if I can have you look to C6. Can you see the type of entry that we're looking at here in 94C6?
Yes, this is from the contacts.
Okay, and what is contacts in a device?
It's where messages, or I'm sorry, where accounts are saved.
And who are they saved by? At a minimum, a person with access to the device.
Right, but contacts could also not just include, as far as Celebrite is concerned, phone numbers or names. It could be Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts, like social media accounts. So we'll see a lot of items in the contacts, but as you can see, when you look into the source file, it shows address book and then the SQLite database after that. So specifically, this ghost contact was stored in the address book of the phone, so the contacts of the phone.
Now, as we go back to 94C5, are there messages exchanged between Sean Gathright, the owner of the device, and Ghost, or the number saved as Ghost?
Yes.
Can you tell me the date on which these communications begin?
6/6 of 24 at 4:43 a.m. and I see UTC -4, meaning that this message was, or is being displayed in Eastern Standard Time.
In 94C4, are you able to tell me whether this is also another exchange between telephone numbers?
Yes.
And how are you able to determine that?
By looking at the phone numbers, I can see that it's the same phone number as before.
Same mechanism as identifiers underneath the exact phone number?
Yes.
And the owner of this device, identified as Sean Gathright, also still included?
Yes.
As it relates to the content of the first message that's depicted on the screen here, can you tell me what that says?
The message,
Yes.
it shows an address of 3703 Gazebo Pond Lane, Tampa, Florida 33613.
And on what date and at what time was that message sent from the individual GZ with a phone number ending in 4707 to Sean Gathright?
It shows 6/22/24 at 5:22 p.m., again in Eastern Standard Time.
From the same iCloud return, looking at the searched items tab, were there indications that a search had been conducted on this device around 10 p.m. on June 22nd of 2024?
Yes.
Are you able to determine what the content of that search was, or at least what was depicted in the value of the search at that time?
Teasers Gentlemen Club.
In 94C2, can you tell me what the difference is in the participants here?
Well, the only difference is I see that the iCloud account name plus the phone number, which are both identifiers for that device that was being used.
When you are utilizing an iPhone and you engage in messaging utilizing the iMessage application on an iPhone, are you able to also send messages not only through your cellular data by the number, but also by email address?
Whatever the iCloud account is, yes.
The iCloud ID, is that what we were looking at?
The Apple ID, yes, but it doesn't have to be an at iCloud. It could be any email. But yes, you can send it by message. A lot of devices don't have, like iPads might not have any cellular service at all. So typically they would use an Apple ID.
And you could iMessage from that iPad without cellular service by connecting to Wi-Fi or something of that kind?
Correct. When I say cellular service, I'm talking about actually having a phone number assigned to it. So you can still, as long as you have Wi-Fi and you're signed into your iCloud account, you could send iMessages.
Goodness gracious. Lastly, 94C1. What are we looking at here?
It looks like a text message with, shows 3 participants, but 2 of them appear to be the owner Apple accounts.
2 of them appear to be,
Like the Apple account like association. So the phone number is still associated with that Apple account for the owner, and then the actual iCloud email.
and that would still be the one with manager underneath it, that owner identifier?
Correct.
Even if this name under 3825 changes, so that in this particular set of messages, it indicates manager, but are you looking to the phone number that's actually depicted next to or above owner?
Right, the phone number. I believe that Celebrite is saying that this is the owner of the phone.
Your Honor, may I have one moment?
Yes.
And lastly, 94C3. Is this another text message exchange that came from this device, owner name Sean Gathright?
I believe that this is still an iCloud account.
I'm sorry, I keep saying device, iCloud, return.
But yes, it shows that the message, or there are messages between that phone number that's associated with Sean Gathright, and then there's another phone number in there.
Are you able to identify the time from which the first message is actually sent?
The first message depicted here is 6:23 of 24 at 12:58 p.m. and in Eastern Standard Time.
I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Cross?
There's some exhibits that we're trying to locate from before lunch. I'll start with these things, but I mean, it's okay.
The clerks, who's attempting to find them? Gotcha.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I want to take you through some of the exhibits, starting with the last one we kind of went through. This exhibit here, this is the iCloud from Sean Gathright. or at least the iCloud that belongs to Sean Gathright?
I'm not sure if it belongs to him, but yeah, the identifiers show Sean Gathright as being the owner.
All right, the iCloud username is the Rockout Sean username?
Yes.
All right. So this is not Alicia Andrews' iCloud?
I don't know, again, I can't associate it with anybody. I only can tell you the names that are on the accounts.
Got it. But on this account, Rockout Sean, there is no indication that this account has Alicia Andrews' name tied to it, correct?
I have no idea if it is or is not.
All right. This message that you see here, could you read that in the green?
I'm coming home, my thirst is quenched, I love you, Murphy.
All right. Murphy, do you have any context for who sent this message?
I don't know anybody in this case.
At any point in time, did you meet with Detective Ramos to go over any of these iPhone devices or the iCloud returns
I don't recall specifically going over any specific artifacts.
with Detective Ramos
Correct.
or with any detective in the case?
No, I do the extractions, or I'll put them into some sort of software to where they can view it, and then I usually do a small supplement saying what I did, but as far as interpreting the data or seeing how data or items are relevant to the investigation, I don't typically take part in that unless it has to do with a child exploitation case that's assigned to me.
Understood. All right, so I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 75C4. You're not aware of the significance of this photograph, is that correct?
Correct. And I believe it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this is actually not a photograph, but it's a clip of a video.
So it's a still shot from a video?
I believe that that's what was presented. There's a video file, I think, that goes with this. That might have been just before that. It shows all the clips. Yes, sir. And then I believe that that image is just one frame from that video file. But regardless, I don't know the relevance of the video file or the image itself.
Showing you State's Exhibit 75C9. You're not aware of the significance of this photograph either,
No, sir.
or the relevance?
No, sir.
Missing something. Did you go through Alicia Andrews' iCloud return?
No.
Not at all?
Other than I'll usually go through some of the reports just to show that the artifacts that you would expect to be in there are there, but as far as a specific message or a specific photo. No, I did not go looking for evidence relevant to the case.
All right. Do you know that there were nearly 370,000 artifacts in Alicia Andrews' iCloud return?
I'm not aware of how many artifacts there are in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the number you're telling me.
All right. The iCloud returns. Are you responsible for getting these returns from iCloud?
From Apple, yes, sir.
From Apple. You're responsible for doing that, and is that a lot of work?
I wouldn't say it's a lot of work because it's more of just a download, but as far as the knowledge it takes to be able to decrypt it and use the software that Apple requires you to use, because they use their own version of decryption software, so we have to download that, put in the passcode, and then unzip it, and then decrypt it, download it, and then put it back into a zip file and then process it. So it's a little bit of a process for a regular person who's never done it before.
Well, for someone in your position, is that a easy task?
It can be, depending how big the extraction is. Some of them, we've had to be 1 terabyte of data backed up, and some of that stuff can take a significant amount of time, and you have to go through the logs and make sure that nothing failed during the process, and if it did, you have to go download those individual zip folders and then make sure it's all there. So it's yes and no, depending on how big the backup is.
All right, so let's say it is a terabyte or something over a terabyte.
Yes.
How long would that typically take for you to download and get access to?
It could take, we've had it take weeks.
Nothing more than weeks?
It could take longer. I'm not sure because of the failures where you have to keep going back after the information until you get it all downloaded. But with smaller ones, you know, we could have it maybe downloaded in a day and even sometimes parsed the same day.
All right, so if there are Apple iCloud accounts out there that were related to this case, at most it would have taken you weeks to get those Apple iCloud returns downloaded.
From the moment that Apple's created the response and that gets forwarded to us, it would at most, on average, a couple weeks to get the download. It doesn't typically take weeks if it's not that large of a file.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay, Rita, briefly, Your Honor.
For a typical criminal investigation, in order to have Apple start preparing an iCloud return, do you need a search warrant to be authored, granted, issued to Apple for them to respond to that?
Yes.
And in this particular case, any search warrants would have been completed and shared to Apple by detectives?
Yes.
No other questions, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You're free to go.
Thank you.
All right, who's your next witness?
The state would call Detective Juan Ramos. You swear from the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you may proceed.